Now, this dump trailer is the crap, man. I mean, you gotta get one of these. Two things: a dump trailer and a tractor and a pickup.
Dump trailer is my favorite thing. I didn't really want Ernie to get it because I just didn't know how useful it would be. But it's actually kind of my dump trailer now. I use it all the time.
Yeah, and then one of those little battery packs is what goes in there. We just plug it in, and it charges that battery, and it just keeps going. Because they said, and you can check it here. You know, yeah, it's getting a little low. And what they were saying, yeah, you could just dump it, lift it and dump it about 4 times on the. I'm like, 4 times? I don't want to do that. I need it like 40 times. So we just put in that battery pack and it just keeps going. Plus, I think when you got it plugged in to the vehicle, it charges it too. So there's a lot of little projects, you know, that going on. All right, we'll show you the dome here so you kind of get an idea of one of the main things that we're working on. This is the dome that, and we put shade cloth on, the wind blows it off, and so that's why we got those triangle things. We're going to try that up here, see if they can hold up to the wind better. But this is one of the work tables that we have, and there's a table saw that's on there for cutting. I got to do one of the door frames, a third door frame that we need for the dome over here. So this is just kind of a work area now, but it will go on top of this. So this is what we've done so far. The bathroom in there with all the drains and so on for that. There's going to be utility and laundry room and stuff over there. And you see the door frames, we took them down from here to make it easier to get in to do the concrete. So we have the center 10 foot that we did, and then I got, you know, ready to do the next pour. We'll get the tractor back, you know, today or tomorrow. We had some work done on it, and then we'll start pouring that, because we have that it's hard for me to see the screen here. That mixer right there is for mixing concrete. It has a little door underneath. I flip a switch and it just, you know, dumps it right in to where we're working. And there's Donna's car, and we have, you know, the backhoe attachment that goes to it. We have a back blade. We have a 4-1, you know, kind of clamping bucket, and over there we got another bucket and a forklift. And so we have, you know, the accessories that we need. And then there's by the trailer there is a diesel fuel cell that has like a, you know, a fuel pump, and we pump that. And so we're going to be going, the next work that we're doing is to finish the floor here, and we have 4 pours. So we have like one section, then we'll do another one. I'm probably going to do the one over by that door first so that we can get the door frames back, because what we do is this material goes right up, and we do cement, you know, in these first layers, and when we do up next to the door frame, we put some Portland in there, even though a lot of it's going to be just Adobe. But we put that in just to really seal it in, and you do cleats of wood that go between the layers so you can screw that door frame in. Then we'll be showing you where we put up window frames and so on. But this is the size of it. It's pretty big. It's a lot bigger than you think when you get it enclosed and you go in. But the bathroom and some more storage and doing laundry and all that was just going to take up too much room. So screw it. We just added on a room, because this is an experiment anyway. This is something that we wanted to try a bunch of different coatings, different methods, different ways of doing the screening the cement, and, you know, different design traits, and how much of a awning that we have, and a balcony, if we can put that up there, and where the windows go and get the view. Because what we're doing, the bedroom is going to be here, and that right there where you see that cement area, you know, just had extra cement that came through. We had it kind of wet. And then the window, and this is going to be our view. So I'm looking forward to this, but where the actual home is going to go is over on the other side of this wash. So let's go ahead and show you that. Now you can see here the mixer, you know, it has an auger in there and a door in the bottom, and, you know, that's how that works. So This wash is where one of the ones, there's several, there's probably 4 or 5, that where we control the water to make sure it goes to where we're going to be storing it in the sand pond. The reason you call it a sand pond is because it's filled with sand. You know what? You don't see the water. That way you don't have evaporation, you don't get algae, you just got your own man-made aquifer. So as we source the material for building up this pad, because we need to raise it up, you know, at least 12, 18, 24 inches, you know, so that we don't have any flooding of the home. So this home pad here is going to be coming from over there. And as we go down in that, then we process this to a trommel that I have the equipment for, and process the dirt to get down to the gravel, and it just be gravel over there, so that you have the gravel displaces about 2/3 of the space. So if you do, you know, 6 acre feet of pond area with the sand in it, that means you get 2 acre feet of water, you know, in the spaces and so on. And it's, you know, protected from the light and a bunch of other stuff. Well, what happens is that means that 1 acre a foot deep is 326,000 gallons. So times 2 is like a lot, you know. So we're what, 680 something thousand gallons. I mean, it's a lot. So we'll be fine. Now, what we did is, you can see just from one rain, we had, this was, you know, it just looked like dirt. You know, it was like a smooth dirt as we packed it down here. And now you can see it's just a bunch of gravel and sand. So when we process it through a trommel, we get all of our building material, our sand and gravel, from this. This is where the wash sand and the washes come from, and it's just processing this dirt. So back there is the back part of the property, and that's kind of our lay down yard. We put, you know, our barrels and, you know, storage stuff and everything, and I'll probably have a little workshop area there. And then this, where the dome was the workshop, we're moving from that. That was temporary. We're just taking that dome. It's probably going to go over here and be one of the garages or one of the buildings. But the circle concrete platform that we did over there was for an outdoor common area. You know, we wanted to have, you know, fireplace and rocket stove benches, heating, whatever thing. So we're going to go ahead and do that. That's where the fire happened, and we'll get you details on that later. But it was, you know, we learned a lesson, and we wanted to make that was a temporary thing anyway. So I don't want to, like, I got another cover I could put on it and reconcept. Nah, we'll just go ahead and make it what it originally was intended for, as a platform for a community. Now I got 300, I don't know if you can see over there, 300 railroad ties, which is what they used here previously for doing the fence. And I got a good deal on those. So I said, yep, pull the trigger, boom, bring them over. So that's what we're doing with that as a fence. Now these are augerings that I did. I have an auger that goes on the back of the tractor. Now I really should, you know, level out the mound, but it was too dry, and I wanted to wait till it rained a little bit so the soil just wouldn't fill back in with moon dust, and then we'll level it, and we'll fill it in with sand and then level it. Because the way the tractor is, it has an auger on the back and that mixing bucket on the front. I just scoop it up full of sand. I do the augering, back up, fill it with sand. Auger, back up, fill it with sand. Because when you're open to the air, that sand, the water, as we back this up, it just penetrates into the clay and the soil here, alluvial floodplain. Now, when we do that, it moves about 12 inches every 24 hours. So when we have the monsoon, which be a coming, we are going to be able to get the water to go into the soil instead of running off into the washes and off to the property. Because what it does is this, you know, it creates this thin layer of clay, and it doesn't really penetrate that. It just flows off. So I need it to get into the soil to charge it and have millions of gallons so that we can plant trees. That's what the plan is. So this is how we're going to accomplish that. Now, we've already done some test areas. It works really well, and we're going to be focusing on that. I don't know. Maybe, after it rains in the next weeks or so, it's going to start raining, and that way it'll penetrate the ground a little bit to where it won't be so powdery, and we can go ahead and put sand in it, and it'll hold back the soil so that the water will penetrate. Because one thing that's interesting, we're going to be doing, dirty science, .info, and it's going to be all about the dirt and how you can use it and the different traits of it. I found it fascinating doing some research, and I want to demonstrate that for people that build in the desert and do this stuff. Because when we were looking, you couldn't find it. It was like Washington University from 1950s on an old video that they digitized. I mean, really, it was a thing. And when the soil gets saturated into the clay and it hits a band, a stripe of, which happens a lot of times, like these washes and so on, you go down like 5 feet and you'll see a band of gravel. Well, that's where all the gold is, by the way. But also the water doesn't penetrate through that. From capillary action, it stays up in, water in clay goes up as fast as it goes down from capillary action, because clay is not necessarily a material, it's a type of material. It's like plates of minerals and different, there's different kinds of clays. It's more a physical thing than it is a chemical thing. So what we were doing is making sure that you have that knowledge of where, if it goes into a band of sand, it doesn't go further down. It's amazing. We're going to be going over how we can use that to our advantage. But where it's open to the air at the top, then of course the water just penetrates down. So we have a bunch of these, and this is where we're putting the sand dams to back this up so that it fills those holes. That's what's going on. So we did this. And this is how now this is just Adobe. There's no it's not structured Adobe. There's no Portland cement in it or anything. And we've had, a couple of floods, and this stuff holds up fine. And if you cover this in a stucco, if we just put a coating on it, it'll last forever. Because you have thousands of year-old Adobe structures, as long as they're in a cliff dwelling or they have a roof of some kind or a shade, or you keep direct water from going on it, it'll last forever. So that's what we're building out here, is a forever thing. Now we still have, some of the pallets out here with tarps on them. Now this is another dome. This is another 30-foot dome, that we have, that we already punched out and made. So this is what's going on. This is what we're doing. And we just wanted to kind of give you an idea of, where we're at. But it's so much work that we have everything that needs to be done. There's a little here, a little there, and we're going to be focusing on the construction of the dome over here by the bus and the drainage. I just got it. Sometimes I'll just spend a few days just taking soil out. A lot of times when I need it, and I need, like, these piles of dirt here are there for a reason. A lot of times we have different construction things that we're doing or water that we want to divert. So I'm going to be spending some time on that. And so this is where we're at. Now this tree here was where we had the outdoor shower, and we think that we're probably going to do like a 16-foot dome to be a utility, which originally was what this was going to be, but we got into it and we're like, we can make a nice little house and get out of the bus, and then we'll just go ahead and do that. But this is where we had our outdoor shower here, and it was awesome. So we're going to go ahead and probably use this area right here for building a utility dome. So this is where we're at. This is what we're doing, and at each one of these, there's so many little projects that we have that keeps us busy. And Donna is really good about making sure we got enough water. She does the water runs and so on. But when we bring out the tanks and we start filling those up, then we'll have to do that a lot less. But we're really counting on capturing the monsoon water, which there is a bunch of. And if you can capture it, once a year, it'll last you the whole year. So that's what, the long-term plan is. Or we could do a well. Well's probably not that deep, but it's like $50,000, to $70,000, and no guarantees. It's here, but I'd rather make it more sustainable using the rain. because it's just out of principle. And I'd like to do that, and I'll spend what it takes to do that, and time and money. Usually it's just time and diesel, you know. So that's what we're working on. Now we'll probably, by the next video, we'll have the floor done in here, and then the walls will start going up pretty quick. So you got that to look forward to. There's Don off to something. Peace.